to darkness and light. In Acts 26, we're going to start at verse 15. And I said, who are you, Adonai? Now, this is when Mashiach Yahushua, he appears before Brother Shaul on the road to Damascus. And this is Brother Shaul speaking. Who are you, Adonai? And he said, I am Yahushua, whom you persecute. But rise and stand on your feet. For I have appeared to you for this purpose, to make you a minister and a witness, both of these things which you have seen, and of those things in which I will appear unto you, delivering you from the people and from the Gentiles, unto whom now I send you, to open their eyes, to turn from darkness to light, and the power of Satan unto Elohim. Now, in this particular passage, what we want to see, the contrast that's being represented by the darkness and the power of Satan in regard to light and Elohim. So when we go back to Genesis chapter 1 and we see that darkness, we understand now that this darkness is symbolic of the adversary. Okay? Keep that in mind. In Genesis chapter 1 and verse 4. And Elohim saw the light, that it was good. And Elohim divided. And what it says in Hebrew, it says, Bein ha'or ubein ha'choshek. Roughly translated, between the light and between the darkness. So what's being done now? At the beginning, a distinction is now being made between what is light and what is darkness. But listen to how this distinction is being made. Verse 5. And Elohim called the light Yom, which is day. And the darkness he called Lila, which is night. And there was evening and there was morning, Yom Achad. In other words, day one. Now, why are we emphasizing that? When we look at the day is symbolic of the light of the Most High. The night also, but there's something else added to the night when we compare it to what's happening right here. Now, the darkness, and what I want you to do, imagine looking into the night sky and there's no moon and there are no stars. That very same darkness that exists, that we see every night, is the exact same darkness that the Creator made a distinction between. But here's the difference. At this particular time, there were no sun, moon, or stars. Some people use this as a contradictory passage. No, it's not. Because they just don't understand that the light being referenced is the light of Elohim. Several passages clearly show that Elohim enclosed or enwrapped himself in light. He is that light. But not only that, the scriptures also say his word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. So it refers to Elohim in his very essence, but it also refers to his word when it talks about that light. Keep these things in mind as we go along. So when it said, and there was evening and there was morning, day one, it's talking about the light of the Most High in contrast to the darkness of the adversary. All right? Verse 6. Now we're getting into the second day, all right, of recreation. And what I mean when I say recreation, this planet is now being set up for humanity. Okay? Specifically, it's being set up for humanity because there are things that are about to be created that when you think about the history between verses 1 and 2, it wasn't necessary during that time. But let's keep it moving. Verse 6. And Elohim said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Now that word firmament, we want to look at that. It comes from a term number 7549. That word is rakia. Rakia. Matter of fact, let me put that on the board for you. Hopefully everybody at least got these passages. And like I said, if you want a copy of the lesson, by all means, shoot me a message in my comment box, and I can get these lessons emailed to you. And for those who have been listening and or following for some time, I have to offer you an apology for not offering that all along. The capacity to actually give people the lessons has always been there, but it never dawned on me to do so. So my apologies for all of the other videos that were done and the lessons weren't offered. But from henceforth, Most High willing, we'll be able to offer those lessons for whoever would like a copy of the lesson. So we want to put this word up on here, rakia. So this is your resh. This is your kuf. This is your yod. And this is your ayin. Okay? And the word is rakia. Okay? And it says properly and expanse. That is the firmament, or apparently visible arc of the sky. All right? Now it's derived from another term, which is number 7554. Let me put this number up here first. This word rakia is number 7549. You want to reference that. But it's derived from another term. Then you have the resh. You have your kuf. And you have your ayin. And what this word is rakah. This is number 7554. Okay? Now the word rakah, it means to pound the earth as a sign of passion. And of course, when it comes to Ibri or Hebrew, it depends on the context that the word is being used in. It says by analogy, to expand by hammering. By implication, to overlay with thin sheets of metal. And again, depending on how the term is used in the passage, will determine which definition would be applied. Now in this particular passage, it would be to expand. Okay? Now think about having a lump of Play-Doh, right? If you had a lump of Play-Doh, and let's imagine if you hammer it, and when you hammer that Play-Doh, it becomes flat. But when it becomes flat, it also expands. He's telling us this is what was done in regard to creating the firmament. Something was flattened or expanded, right? So let's look at a few passages. In Yeshayahu, which is Isaiah chapter 42, in verse 5 it says, Thus saith Elohim Yahweh, He that created the heavens and stretched them out. In chapter 44 and verse 24, it says, Thus saith Yahweh, your Redeemer, and He that formed you from the womb. I am Yahweh that make all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone. So we see in these passages that it is indicating that the heavens were stretched out, expanded in some way, shape, or form. All right? The firmament. Now, let's go to Bereshit chapter 1, or Genesis 1:7, and let's continue. And Elohim made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. So let me just write something up on the board, just to give you a visual so we can keep that in mind. So basically you have waters, right? So you have, let's say, these are waters, okay? Then he put a firmament. This is your firmament. And then he said there are other waters. Okay. So, and this is your firmament. This is rakia. All right. He says, verse 8, Genesis 1:8. And Elohim called the firmament Shemayim. So the rakia was given a personal name, so to speak. So rakia, or the firmament, is now being referred to as Shemayim, which means heavens. So when we think about the heavens, when we think about the sky, okay, the word Shemayim comes from number 8064, and that's what it means, to be lofty, the sky, okay? Now you think about the heavens, but go back for a moment. Waters above the heavens, waters below the heavens, okay? So we're familiar with the waters below the heavens because these are the waters that's on the earth. But just food for thought. What are the waters that are above the heavens? Okay, let's think about that. Okay, let's continue. It says, Genesis 1:8 again, and Elohim called the firmament, or Elohim called Rakia Shemayim, the heavens. And the evening and the morning were the second day. So we got 2 days down of the recreation of this place for humanity, right? Now, let's go to the next day. Genesis chapter 1, starting at verse 9. And Elohim said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place. So now, the waters, we have to keep in mind, they were all together. Now, they're going to be separated. It says, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. So when this happened, now you had the waters being separated, and then you had dry land appearing. I'm just going to draw a line to indicate the dry land. Dry land. So you got water all around, okay? Water all around. Then you have dry land. Now, at one point, I'm not going to get into all the details regarding this, but at one point, you had what was called a Pangea. There was one landmass. Now, after the flood, the landmass was broken up and divided and separated to become the continents and the islands that you see today. But when it was initially created, it was one landmass. Okay? So he separated the waters from the waters. You had one landmass. He said in verse 10, and Elohim called the dry land Aretz, which is earth or land. And the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And Elohim saw that it was good. Right? So you have all of this done now, right? Now I'm going to read verses 11 through 13 because we want to make a point here. It says, and Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the third day. Now, these 3 days. Now, he said he's going to make grass. Let's make some grass. He said he was going to make plants. Let's make a little plant here. No. Okay. Then he said he's going to make trees. Right? And then with the trees, the leaves and stuff like that all over, then you also have fruits on them. Okay? And then with the fruit, they would bore seeds. So these are the 3 things that was created on the third day. Right? Question. Which of these objects, the grass, the herb yielding seed, or the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself, which of these did the Creator say we're supposed to use to determine or reckon time? Which one? Based on what we just read. And let me say this, let me add this to it. Personally, I am a staunch believer in the passage that teaches one prophecy of Scripture is not of its own private interpretation. I believe that and I stand on that. It is His Word. But if you search the Scriptures, from Bereshit to Chazon, Genesis to Revelation, is there a passage that indicates that the grass, the herb yielding seed, or the fruit tree yielding fruit whose seed is in itself, should be used to reckon time. Now I'm going to leave that on the table. That's something for you to consider, to pray about, and ask the Most High to lead you and guide you to finding that answer. And this is being mentioned and emphasized for a reason. Okay? You have some people who believe that what we're supposed to be doing is looking to the earth to determine what time it is. Yes, what we're about to get into in regard to the greater light, the lesser light, and the stars has a connection to agriculture. Yes, it does. I'm not going to deny that because that's the truth. But there's no place in Holy Scripture where he says to use that as the marker. He's about to give us the marker for time. The question is, Bible students and Bible believers, do we accept what the Torah is teaching? That's the question. Do we accept what the Torah is teaching regarding this matter? So let's continue. Let's pick up in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 40 and 41, just to see something here. He says, there are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial. But the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. There is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars. For one star differeth from another star in glory. So keep that in mind. We are about to get into the heavenly bodies, the luminaries, so we can better understand what it is that the Most High has commanded in regard to the greater light, the lesser light, and the stars. Our focal point today will be Shemesh, which is the sun, the greater light. But let's read our passages first. In Bereshit, which is Genesis chapter 1, we're going to pick up in verse 14. And Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and for years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And Elohim set them in the firmament of the heavens, to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. There we have it. Question, do we believe that? Do we accept that as being the truth? And we're not going to leave it to just that passage, as was mentioned. One prophecy of Scripture is not of its own private interpretation. But what the Most High has done is this. He has layered his word with various evidences to prove any truth by his word. But here's the other piece to it. He has to lead us and guide us to that by his Spirit. That is the only way we understand what the Creator inspired the prophets to write. It has to be by his Spirit. Doesn't make a difference how well and articulate you are when it comes to reading any language. English, Hebrew, Greek, Latin, it doesn't matter. Are you being moved by his Spirit, just as the righteous were moved by their spirit, by his Spirit? Excuse me, by the Spirit that they possessed. Okay? Now, a couple things that we need to touch on in regard to these luminaries. Now, it's approximately 9 years ago, another teaching was done in regard to the holy days. What is the truth about the holy days? Now, within that teaching, we talked about the sun, moon, and the stars. But at that time, the Creator haven't helped me to understand the movement of the luminaries. And it was taught in the context of the earth moving, if I remember correctly. That was incorrect. Since then, the Creator has helped me to better understand that the earth in actuality does not move. So let's look at some passages to establish that. In Tehillim, which is Psalms chapter 93, in verse 1. It reads, Yahweh reigneth, he is clothed with majesty. Yahweh is clothed with strength. He hath girded himself. The world also is established, that it cannot be moved. In Psalms 96:10, we are taught, the world also shall be established, that it not be moved. And in Psalms 104, verse 5, it says, who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever. So as we continue through the Holy Scriptures, what we're going to see is that in actuality, it is the luminaries, it is the sun, the moon, and the stars which actually are moving around the earth. Not the other way around. I don't care what the science teachers say. I don't care what the astronomers say. I only care about what the Torah teaches, the word of Yah, which is the truth. We're going to have scoffers, we're going to have skeptics, that's fine. Scriptures teach us this. Every knee at one point is going to bow. Every tongue at some point is going to confess. They may not believe it now. They may not accept it now. They may not acknowledge it now. But the time is coming when every human being, past, present, and future, will acknowledge what the truth is, whether they like it or not. So let's continue. So it refers to the lights that give, or the luminaries to give light to the earth. Okay, these great lights, he said, right? And the word translated as light is the word ma'or. Okay. Now, let me get this out the way. We understand this is Rakia. We understand this is also referred to as Shemayim. All right. I just want to put this up here because we want to keep this in mind. Because remember, we got upper waters and we got the lower waters, we got the earth and everything now. Okay? But within the heavens, he's putting the sun, the moon, I'm going to just do the crescent for the moon, and the stars. Just to give you that picture. So when we look into the heavens, see, there's something beyond. Keep these things in mind as we go along, because Abba wants to teach us something. He wants to show us something. See, what he's revealed to us in his word, these are the things he wants us to know. That's why I was taught years ago, and some of you may have heard this, where the word of Yah is silent, be silent. But where it speaks, yell it from the housetops. Okay? I just want to put that up there too. So now we will look at the word ma'or. Hopefully everybody got that visual. Upper borders, lower borders, earth, and everything that was created thus far. Alright. And we got the luminaries right there in the firmament of the heavens. Alright. So, just wanted to give you that visual before I remove all of this. Now, the word ma'or, which is spelled Mem, Aleph, Wav, and Resh. Okay? Ma'or. And it means lights.